What if I told you that the most valuable commodity on Earth isn't oil, gold, or data? It's not something you can hold or see. It's a fiction, a story we all agree to tell, a promise about the future. That promise is debt. And over centuries, this simple IOU has been engineered into the most profitable and pervasive product in human history. It's the invisible engine of our entire modern world, an engine that runs on our time, our labor, and our future. But how did we get here? How did a tool for borrowing become a product that now generates more wealth than almost any physical industry? For most of history, debt was a personal, often dangerous thing. Ancient societies like Babylon knew its power. They had debt jubilees, wiping slates clean to prevent society from collapsing under the weight of obligations. Debt was a temporary bridge, not a permanent residence. The first great shift happened when we figured out how to make debt transferable. In medieval Italy, the Medici family didn't just lend money. They created financial instruments that could be traded. A debt was no longer just a contract between two people. It was an asset that could be bought and sold. This was the spark. The engine was invented, but it needed fuel. The fuel came from the most powerful borrower of all, the state. In the 17th century, the Dutch Republic was fighting for its life against Spain. They needed money, and they had a brilliant, diabolical idea. They sold bonds to their own citizens. For the first time, ordinary people could lend to the government and earn interest. War, once limited by a king's treasure chest, could now be financed by selling the future. England copied this, and with the creation of the Bank of England in 1694, they turned national debt into a permanent institution. The government didn't just borrow for emergencies, it lived on debt, rolling it over forever. This was the engine's supercharger. Lending to a government was the safest bet imaginable because governments have a unique power. They can tax their citizens to pay you back. The profits were now guaranteed, backed by the full force of the state. For centuries, this engine mostly powered governments and empires. But the 20th century saw its final masterful evolution, the mass marketing of debt to you and me. After World War II, the financial industry faced a problem. They had this incredibly profitable engine, but its biggest market, governments, was limited. The solution? Democratized debt. The mortgage was the gateway drug. Owning a home went from an elite privilege to a middle-class dream, accessible only by signing a 30-year payment plan. Then came the car loan, the installment plan for furniture, and finally, the ultimate product, the credit card. The psychological shift was monumental. Debt was stripped of its stigma and repackaged as aspiration, convenience, and freedom. Buy now, pay later became the mantra of modern life. For the banks, this was a revolution. Instead of a few large loans to kings, they had millions of small loans to households, each one a tiny compounding profit center. The engine was now in every garage, every wallet. But the innovators weren't done. They realized they could make money not just from debt, but by selling the debt itself. This is financialization. Your mortgage, your car loan, your credit card debt, they were all bundled together into complex securities and sold to investors around the world. Debt was no longer just a product. It was the raw material for a global casino. The 2008 financial crisis was the moment this casino almost blew up. The system had created so much debt, built on such shaky promises, that it collapsed under its own weight. And what was the solution? Not to dismantle the engine, but to pour more fuel on it. Governments bailed out the banks. Central banks slashed interest rates to zero, making debt cheaper than ever. The crisis created by debt became the justification for creating even more debt. So here we are today. Global debt is over $300 trillion, 3 times the size of the entire world economy. Our entire system is built on it. Governments need it to function, corporations use it for stock buybacks, and households rely on it to maintain a standard of living that stagnant wages can't support. The debt engine is no longer just in the economy, it is the economy. And that's the genius of this product. It requires no factory, no raw materials, and no innovation. Its only input is a promise. Its output is a perpetual transfer of wealth from the future to the present and from debtors to creditors. We're taught to see debt as a tool for getting ahead, and sometimes it is, but we must never forget its other nature. It is a product meticulously designed for profitability, and we aren't just its customers, we are its fuel. The most profitable product in history runs on time, your time. The question is, who ultimately owns yours? If you want to understand more about the hidden systems that shape our lives, subscribe. We're just getting started.